Brandweek Live YouTube kanalına tekrardan hoş geldiniz. Şu an yanımızda Haile Owusu var. So,
Hi.
firstly, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's such a great pleasure to be at Brandweek Istanbul. I'm Dr. Haile Owusu, Chief Data Scientist at Mashable. I run the data science team. We are responsible for algorithm generation and quantitative analyses at the organization.
So, let's just jump to questions.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, how do you use the velocity technology to predict and track the viral life cycle of a digital media content?
It's a great question. So, velocity is essentially a crawling system. So we ingest a bunch of information around the content that a bunch of different publishers, not just our own, not just us, but other publishers, the content that they create. And so once we ingest that content, we track how it moves on the different social networks. And by move, I really mean how much engagement it receives, whether people are sharing it, whether they're liking it, whether they're commenting on it. Once we take those early signals in, we basically predict how much engagement it's going to receive. And we're able to make that prediction based on a model that we've built out for how things tend to diffuse across social networks. So it turns out that content is sort of highly inertial. And one of the reasons why we call it velocity is that if you start out with a certain amount of velocity with your content initially, you'll tend to tap out in your engagement a certain way. So there's a relationship with how fast something moves initially and how big it gets.
So how fast actually starts, maybe?
Yes, that's right.
From the start.
Exactly.
It's kind of a snowball effect, maybe. It's not, but it feels
is.
like actually.
No, totally. And in fact, one of the things that we notice when we track content and velocity is that the really, really big stories are very much like snowballs. Basically, they accumulate a lot of engagement and they kind of plateau, but they don't quite plateau, and then they keep going and going and going and only stop long, long times after they've been published. So the snowball effect, I think, is actually a very apt metaphor.
Great. So, can I work for Mashable? I'm not sure.
I mean, I think we could work something out. I think it'd be a natural.
It's great. It's great. So I'm going to send you my CVs.
Please.
So the other one is
Sure.
What data scientists do in a media?
This is an excellent question because, to be honest, media is one of the more unusual places for a data scientist to work. And data scientists typically are really, really appropriate hires in organizations where you have a very clear quantitative directive. So if you want to maximize the number of widgets that a company makes, a data scientist is a natural choice. Data scientists in media do all sorts of things, right? In the case of me and the members of my team, we build algorithms that primarily service velocity and our velocity suite of applications. But there are a variety of quantitative analyses that we do as well. Essentially, we operate as the internal economists of the company. And so we try to understand the movements of our audience, what they prefer, ways to incentivize them to look at more of our content, and figure out essentially distributional strategies on Facebook and Twitter. So we do a variety of stuff. And also, actually, honestly, just crass revenue optimization as well. So essentially anything that's quantitative that requires analysis is work that we do.
So we are here. If you need anything quantitative, the data scientists will hear.
Exactly. That should be our tagline. You need quantitative work, we do it.
It's a cool idea, by the way. So thank you very much for your time.
No, my pleasure. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Absolute pleasure. Cheers.
Efendim yayınlarımız devam edecek. Şimdilik görüşmek üzere. Bay bay.